Have you ever felt like your prayers were hitting a ceiling? Like your words just vanished into empty air? David, the man after God's own heart, knew this feeling all too well. But here's what most people miss. His silence wasn't weakness. It was warfare. In Psalm 39:2, David writes something shocking. I was mute and silent. I held my peace to no avail, and my distress grew worse. The warrior king who killed Goliath, who danced before the Lord, who wrote songs of victory, chose silence. Why? Because sometimes the deepest faith isn't found in what we say, but in what we refuse to say. David was surrounded by enemies who watched his every move, waiting for him to curse God, to break, to give them ammunition. They wanted him to speak rashly so they could say, "See, even God's chosen one doubts him." So David clenched his teeth. He held his tongue. But inside, he was burning. Listen to his honesty in Psalm 39:3. My heart became hot within me. As I mused, the fire burned. Then I spoke with my tongue. The pressure was building. The silence was killing him. And yet he waited. Have you been there? Holding everything inside because you don't want to sound unfaithful? Smiling at church while screaming inside? You're in good company. David's struggle teaches us something profound. Silence before people doesn't mean silence before God. In fact, his Psalms are proof that he was brutally honest with the Lord. Psalm 13:1 cries out, How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? That's not the prayer of someone pretending everything is fine. That's raw faith. Faith that trusts God enough to be real with him. Here's the secret David discovered. There's a time to be silent before your critics, and a time to be loud before your Creator. He knew when to shut his mouth in front of mockers, and when to open his heart before the throne of grace. Think about Jesus in this same pattern. When he stood before Pilate, accused and mocked, Matthew 27:14 tells us, But he gave him no answer, not even to a single charge, so that the governor was greatly amazed. Silence in the face of false accusation. But in the Garden of Gethsemane, he poured out his soul. My Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Strategic silence, sacred honesty, both are acts of faith. So what was David really fighting when he chose silence? He was fighting the temptation to defend himself, instead of trusting God to defend him. He was fighting the urge to control the narrative, instead of letting God write the story. He was fighting the human need to be understood right now, instead of waiting for God's vindication in his time. And that fight, it cost him everything emotionally. Psalm 32 verses 3-4 reveals the physical toll. For when I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My strength was dried up, as by the heat of summer. Silence isn't easy. It's not peaceful. It's a furnace, but it's also where gold is refined. Here's what you need to understand. If you're in a season where words feel useless, where speaking up seems pointless, where you've chosen to stay quiet while others misunderstand you, you're not weak. You're in the same crucible that shaped David into the man after God's own heart. But don't make his mistake. Don't stay silent before God. David eventually learned to pour out everything to the Lord. Psalm 62:8 became his anthem. Trust in him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Pour it out. The anger, the confusion, the sense of abandonment. God can handle your honesty. In fact, he prefers it to your polite pretending. So here's your practical step this week. Find a private place and pray like David. Don't edit yourself. Don't use church language. Just talk to God like he's right there, because he is. Tell him about the silence that's suffocating you. Tell him about the words you're holding back. Tell him why it hurts. And then, like David, wait. Not in passive resignation, but in active trust. Keep showing up. Keep worshiping, even when you don't feel it. Keep choosing to believe that God sees what others miss, that he's writing a story bigger than this chapter. David's silence before people became a megaphone to generations. His private prayers became public psalms that have comforted millions. Your silent season isn't wasted. It's being transformed into something eternal. Remember Psalm 37:7. Be still before the Lord, and wait patiently for him. That stillness isn't emptiness. It's fullness, held in tension. It's faith choosing to trust, when trust is the hardest choice. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You don't have to defend your story to people who weren't there. You don't have to make them understand. God already does. So be like David, silent before your critics, honest before your Creator, trusting that the God who sees in secret will reward you openly in his perfect time. Your silence is not your defeat. It's your declaration that God's voice matters more than theirs. And that, my friend, is the most powerful statement you could ever make. Please like and subscribe. See you in the next video.